This week on Dance of Joy, we talk about cancel culture in the 90s, the perfect strangers to Batman pipeline, and the whimsical joy of giant furniture. All that and more as we watch Season 5, Episode 24 of our favorite 80s hit sitcom, Perfect Strangers. Hello and welcome to Dance of Joy, a Perfect Strangers rewatch podcast. My name is Sophia. I'm one of your hosts, and joining me, as always, is my co-host and my brother. That's not two people, that's one person. What's up, Imran?
It's me, myself, and I. How are you? What's up, listener? Last week we talked about the crazy weather in Chicago. And let me tell you, it's raining cats and dogs out there right now. I just stepped in a poodle. Boo. Sorry. Bad pun. There's going to be dog puns. Lots of dog puns.
Lots of dog puns today because we are discussing Season 5, Episode 24 of Perfect Strangers called Digging Up the News.
This is the Season 5 finale.
Season 5 finale.
Yeah, we have
We're getting
it to
through
the
it.
end of Season 5. Oh, my Lord.
We have 2.5 seasons-ish left.
Yeah, and we'll get to it in our next week. Will be our 100th episode.
Ooh.
This is episode 99. We're roughly 2/3 of the way through this journey as of doing end of season 5, right? What is digging up the news? Well, if you cracked open the TV guide, you would have read Larry's aggressiveness in unmasking the host of a children's TV show puts him in the doghouse with the kids. With the kitty idol.
So we have another dog pun, but the description itself doesn't let on that this episode is about dogs. There's a lot of dog puns. We'll find out why. This episode, we've got Marklyn Baker and Bronson Pinchot as our leads, Balky and Larry. We also have an appearance by Mr. Wainwright at the Chronicle, played by F.J. O'Neill, and a man called Rick Hurst, who plays the guest star, this television show host, this children's TV show host.
Yeah, this guy's been in a number of things. We will talk about him. This episode first airing April 27th, 1990, or it might have been in May 1990. The end of this season and the dates are kind of fuzzy between TV Guide and other sources. Basically, we are at the end of the 1989-90 TV season. That's here, right in the springtime, right before they take a break. And of course, you can watch all of this on Amazon Freevee, all 8 seasons of Perfect Strangers, streaming for free right now.
Bingeable now, and it never was before.
I mean, you just turn one on, right? And it just keeps going.
It just keeps
playing.
You
can just let it play, and before you know it, you're like, oh,
you can even skip the intro song, but
series.
Who skips the song? Sometimes
I do.
We like the song.
I love the song.
All right, season finale. Let's get into it. Act 1. We open with a very lovely, one of these openings that just puts a smile on your face right away. It's a song and dance number, and it's one that Balky is singing when we open. We're at the Chronicle in the basement. And
Balky's
it's a
at
show
his mail
tune.
table, sorting mail, singing the song.
Put on your Sunday clothes from Hello Dolly.
Yes, I'm not familiar with this song, but it's a big song from Hello Dolly.
Yes, and it's very energetic, and he's really into it. And Larry enters kind of frantically, eager to tell Balky some news, but Balky sort of puts his hand up, continues singing, and Larry has nothing to do but just to join him, and then they break out in a choreographed song and dance, and it's just lovely. They're all over the basement. At one point, Balky grabs Larry by one leg and spins him around,
picks him up around this coordinated
and then they end up
dancing
on top of the stairs.
They go up to the first landing there, and they end with the big note: "We won't come home until we've kissed a girl."
Yes. And there's other people in this basement who just don't seem to mind.
So they end the song,
they're always
right?
singing,
and they pass this dude who's in the back doing work, and he's just staring at him. And I can imagine this dude going, "These fools are always singing and dancing.
Yes.
Do they get any work done?"
Yes.
But the crowd loves it. It's a great.
I loved it. Immediate joy right in the beginning opening scene of the show.
Because you just love Larry just falling in line, joining in. He's like, hey, we're doing this
when
now.
They do song and dance. Yeah.
We'll get through this, and then I can tell him my great news. And then when they're done, Balky goes, that was fun, huh? And Larry goes, well, at least we're not doing cats anymore. So he must have had him doing memory.
So they've been going through all the show tunes of the day. And apparently they filmed this whole song and dance number in one take, which is great. They must have practiced it, of course.
That is amazing. They're like one take Charlies. There's a line in this song about get out your brilliantine and dime cigars. And if you've wondered what brilliantine is, it's a mixture of oil and perfume that was a hair grooming product invented at the turn of the 20th century. Brilliantine.
Yeah, I don't know Hello Dolly that well, but this kind of makes me want to go watch it. Yeah.
It's a big musical. Anyways, right. So Larry has some big news. What is it? What is the plot here?
He has great news. He says, my name was mentioned at the weekly editors meeting.
Ooh.
And he thinks that they might be about to give him a big assignment. And Balky wonders what we're wondering. How do you know your name was meant? Balky actually says, how did you get into the editors meeting? And he says, well, he wasn't actually in the meeting. He was near the meeting. And then we find out, Balky outs him. He says, cousin, you were listening through the vent in the men's room again, weren't you? And Larry owns up to it right away. He's like, you're right, I shouldn't do that. And then he goes, when someone turns on the hand dryer, you can't hear a thing.
Yeah, see, that's a bad spot to spy, Larry. Yeah. Find a different, maybe a maintenance closet would work better.
Right.
Just then, Wainwright comes in from behind.
Appleton.
He goes, Appleton. He goes, Larry's like, yes, sir, Mr. Wainwright. And Wainwright confirms, your name was mentioned in the editor's meeting.
Okay.
And Balky's standing next to Larry, and Balky goes, oh, he knows that. And he would know why if he would just get rid of that noisy hand dryer, just blowing up Larry's spot. But of course, Wainwright has no idea what he's talking about.
Skips over it, doesn't make a big deal, and he tells Larry that he has a special assignment for him.
A special assignment?
Larry is very excited. He's like, that's great, sir. You can count on me. Kissing up as always. And then we find out that Wainwright wants him to interview Uncle Shaggy.
And then simultaneously they cut to Larry and Balky, and Larry has a confused, dejected look on his face, and Balky has a very ecstatic, excited smile. And he goes, Uncle Shaggy.
Uncle Shaggy.
And Larry goes, Uncle Shaggy.
Yeah. So who is Uncle Shaggy? He's the host of a very popular children's television show. And then Balky knows all about it. He gets so excited. He's yelling all these. He goes, Uncle Shaggy's doghouse.
He watches the show.
And Wainwright says it's the show's 10th anniversary. That's why they want to do a story about it. And Balky, super fan Balky, goes, first aired March 10th, 1980.
And we are in 1990, of course. So.
Yes.
Balky watches this kid show, and he's a big fan.
Yes.
This is hilarious.
And Wainwright realizes that Balky knows more about this show than Larry does, so he tells Larry to take Balky with him.
And
Balky gets excited.
Take him with you. He repeats.
And then he tells them that they're expected to be there at the show set in 2 hours.
This is just like when they had to go on the game show. Wainwright's like,
right away.
Appleton, you're going to work this game show. It starts in half an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, really?
That's how news used to work.
That's true.
News still works that way.
Yeah.
Like, this thing's
this
happening.
Stuff's happening right now.
But this isn't like, they could have planned this one in advance. They knew it wasn't like a breaking news story.
No, this is it's a weird assignment. And of course, Larry is dejected, but Balky thinks it's the best assignment he's ever had. And Larry says, Balky, I'm interviewing a man who wears a dog suit.
Yeah, so Larry's already poo-pooing on this whole assignment.
Larry's not into this
respecting it. And you could tell, like, that line sets up this idea that Larry's like has to find something interesting, an interesting angle to the story. So then we cut to an external shot of the Pfister Theater.
Pfister, P-H-I-S. You have to spell that out because it's an unfortunate...
Pfister.
Maybe that's how it's pronounced.
P-H-I-S-T-E-R.
Unfortunate name, but we've seen this theater before. The marquee says Uncle Shaggy's Doghouse taping today. But
yeah, we've seen this theater before when Lydia was going to have her Lydia Live
show. The pilot episode is taped here, and of course it's not taping because that show never happened because they screwed it all up.
Right.
Almost live.
I don't want to do this, Larry.
Yeah, the cameras made her freak out. That was great. But then we cut to inside the studio, and Uncle Shaggy is taping his show. And so this is a man who's wearing this plaid pastel-y suit with a giant blue and white checkered bow tie, and he has furry paws on his hands.
He's in a dog.
He's wearing
hat,
a dog cowl.
He's in a dog costume. You can see his face with makeup, but then he has like
he's got dog hair and dog ears. He's got a black nose and big bushy eyebrows
and a tail. And so he's a man. He's a man dressed as a dog. Uncle Shaggy, the character, is a dog.
And you see him first running on a treadmill in a park.
And the set is like everything on the set is giant. To make it look like a dog's perspective, like a giant
there's a
sofa,
big door and a sofa, and a big doggy door
with a doggy door, and and he's in the part of the set that's the park, and they have this treadmill there to mimic dogs running around in a park. We enter this scene; they're filming an Uncle Shaggy scene, and we hear him say, like, "No, that's the end of our run in the park, kid. Now it's time to look in Uncle Shaggy's mailbox." And he pulls out
oversized mailbox, oversized
letter. And he says, today's letter is from Ryan Douglas, age 6. He wants to know, And they're filming this scene. And then off to the side, we see Balky and Larry walk onto like the set, the wings of the set.
Larry has a pad and paper, and he's all serious. Yeah. And Balky is just like a little kiddie school kid. He's all he's a kid and a kid. He's like, oh, cousin, it's Uncle Shaggy in the fur. There's another dog pun.
And he's so excited. He's like, he's at the magic mailbox. Maybe he'll read my letter. Balky has written letters to this show.
He's written in his letters to this kid show. Yeah. And Larry wants him to concentrate. He needs his help. He suggests, he goes, how about this for a title? Uncle
Very
Shaggy.
Stressed about his angle here.
He goes, Uncle Shaggy, my life as a dog. And Balky just goes, no, it's been done.
He knows everything. He's the biggest fan. And then Larry's like, very clearly frustrated. He says, this is hopeless. Sam Donaldson couldn't find an angle on this story.
There's a reference. There's a good 80s,
Sam
90s
Donaldson
reference.
Was a very prominent news reporter, news anchor on ABC.
For a long time. 1967 to 2009. He was also their White House correspondent.
Yeah, he was
for
prominent.
Many years. And he's still alive. He's 89.
Yeah.
He's I remember Sam Donaldson. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's maybe a little older than 89 now.
You think he's older? I think he's 89. 89? I looked it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's still around. He had that, recognizable face. He was everywhere, yeah.
So that is your image of a...
and so Larry's so frustrated because he thinks even Sam Donaldson couldn't find like this. There's no angle to this story, and he really wants to do a good job because it's a special assignment. And then Balky turns to him and he says, remember what Uncle Shaggy always says. And then he puts on like an Uncle Shaggy, like very American voice. Mm-hmm. He says, a difficult task falls into place when you start that job with a smile on your face. And he breaks out of his Meposian accent.
He goes, oh, and that's why we always brush our teeth. He finishes. That was the lesson Uncle Shaggy was giving him. So Uncle Shaggy is done with the letter and he moves into the part of the set with the big couch.
Yes.
And he hops on the couch and he goes, okay, boys and girls, one more game of leap dog. And Uncle Shaggy has to say so long. And he howls. And then you see two other people in dog costumes come flying in through this oversized doggy door, roll on the carpet. One is like a French poodle in pink and the other one's a wiener dog.
A girl dog, yep.
And they do the dog trick where one dog rolls over while the other dog leaps over him, and then that dog rolls
sideways,
and it's kind of like you do it, you see it in like Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
But the dogs do it too, and then they run around the back, and all these details are important because in the back there's clearly trampolines, and the two dogs hop on the trampoline and somersault and land perfectly
over the back of the couch,
land perfectly next to Uncle Shaggy.
And they all howl together. Oh.
I love this set. It reminds me of like Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Blues
Clues.
There
was another kids show with oversized furniture. I can't remember what it was called, but it's fun. Like I get big Pee-wee's Playhouse vibes from this whole set.
And then we find out their names because Uncle Shaggy says, "Say goodbye, Frenchie." That's the pink poodle, the woman in the costume, and
with makeup. These dogs have makeup. Also.
And they have makeup
and noses.
And she
noses.
waves goodbye to the camera. Then he says, "Say goodbye, hot dog." The other dog is called Hot Dog, so they're
Frenchie
Hot Dog and
Hot
Frenchie.
Dog. Yeah.
And then that man barks and waves as well. And then they end the show with a bye-bye, boys and girls. And as they're ending the show, Balky's off stage and also howling and waving back at them.
And Uncle Shaggy's like, what is that? He looks over. He's like, what's going on over there? Everybody's howling.
Yes.
And Balky's just waving and smiling. And they're off the air, the producer says, the cameraman says. And the producer walks in.
And we hear them go, okay, everyone, that's a wrap.
And they all start leaving, but the producer lady stops Frenchie. And she goes, Frenchie, you're looking a little chunky. Lay off the table scraps. Oh. And Frenchie just goes, just mad and walks away. She's a brutal producer. We'll tell you.
That's rough.
You're right down. This is Hollywood. This is a TV business. This is what happens.
Oh my gosh. Even a woman in a dog costume has to lose weight.
That's right. You don't want Frenchie getting too drunky.
And so everyone leaves the set, and Uncle Shaggy goes up to Larry and Balky, and they introduce themselves. Larry tells him he's from the Chicago Chronicle, and he introduces Balky, and of course Balky wants to give him a hug, and he's still like fanning out. He's like, Uncle Shaggy, I can't believe it that it's you. Yeah. I watch your show every week, and he gives him a big hug. And then he like says, good dog, Uncle Shaggy, and scratches him under the neck. And then there's a little bit of physical comedy here because he like scratches him under the neck, and Uncle Shaggy responds like a dog, starts shaking his leg and like enjoying the scratch.
You got to find that spot on your favorite
and so
right
he's
behind
playing
the ears.
it as a dog because he's still in his costume. And then Balky starts scratching him under his ear, and they both like are having a good time with this, just laughing and playing. And Balky says to Larry, don't mind us. We're just laughing and scratching. And then he does the whole where do I come up with them thing.
It, without saying it.
And then he says, Uncle Shaggy, do you mind if I sniff around your house? And he's like, make yourself at home. And so he runs off like behind the couch to like go explore. And Larry tells him that he's his biggest fan.
And then we see Balky come back around the couch. He's holding a giant Frisbee and a giant shoe.
Yeah.
He goes, I can't believe. He goes, cousin, look, it's Uncle Shaggy's Frisbee and his favorite sneaker. I can't believe I'm actually holding things that have been in Uncle Shaggy's mouth. And Larry's like, well, I could see how that would be very special for you, Larry.
Gosh.
And so now Larry just needs to get Balky to go away somewhere so he can get down to business. He goes, oh, Balky, look, did you see the park? Why don't you go for a run? That'd be fun, huh? Talking to him like he's like 8 years old. And Balky's like, I'll go through the doggy door. And he runs through all fours, busts through the doggy door.
Like a dog.
Like a dog. It's great. He's just having a blast.
You know what that reminds me of? Have you seen those videos online of people who run like horses, gallop like horses, humans who it's like a whole subculture.
Well, some people think it's like more efficient and faster or something.
Yeah, but then they show them like leaping over hurdles like on a course, but like a horse.
Oh my God.
They practice this like galloping on all fours.
Whoa. Do they wear furry costumes? This whole thing reminds me of the furries,
there's like a
too.
bunch of videos. It's very weird, but it's interesting to watch.
Run like that too, right? On all fours, but like these people are doing
But these people are jumping like a horse, like front
But nobody's
limbs
riding
first.
the people?
No.
Okay.
Front limbs first over the hurdle.
Human equestrian
look it up.
That's
it's crazy. But that's kind of what it reminded me of, the way he jumps through this doggy door.
At least wear a horse furry costume and complete the whole thing. What is going on? Okay. I'm going to have to look that up. That's weird.
It's really weird.
Thank you, Internet. Okay.
So Balky runs through on all fours, and then Larry and Uncle Shaggy have a moment to talk. Shaggy's like, something. My producer said something about an interview.
Well, before that, though, he goes,
so
that's Balky Bartakamus. I always wondered who wrote those letters.
So he has seen the letters. How long is it? For 10 years? Well, no, Balky hasn't been around for 10 years, but...
and what is he writing about? And he probably thinks this person is a psycho.
Yeah. So he asks about the interview, and Larry explains that the paper wants to do a piece on the 10th anniversary of the show. And Shaggy's all for it. He's like, just give me a few minutes. I'm going to go get out of my costume, and then we can talk. But don't bring the camera.
Oh.
I'm never photographed without my makeup.
Okay.
Larry pushes back, and also he's like, his interest is piqued a little bit, but he pushes back. He says, it might be fun for the kids to see what you really look like. And he just says straight up, no, I never allow pictures. And Larry's like, okay, I won't take any pictures. And then Uncle Shaggy says, all right, I'll meet you in 10 minutes for the interview, but no cameras. And Larry's like, no cameras, no pictures. Okay. And then Uncle Shaggy leaves. And once he's out of the scene, Larry goes, I got to get a picture.
So look, from Larry's point of view, he has just learned about something that doesn't exist. And he's looking for an angle, right?
Yeah.
A one-of-a-kind thing.
Right. A picture
And this
of
idea,
Shaggy
but
without
he doesn't
his...
know why, but he doesn't care.
No, he just wants to scoop. He wants to scoop.
All right, let's talk about this cast real quick. Here's your guest cast. Playing Uncle Shaggy is a actor named Rick Hurst, who was on several seasons of The Dukes of Hazzard as County Deputy Cletus Hogg. There was also Boss Hogg. So this guy's been on everything. He's been on Family Matters.
Familiar to me, yeah.
He played Santa Claus on Family Matters. He's appeared on Sanford and Son, The Partridge Family, The Bob Newhart Show, Gunsmoke, Kojak, Happy Days, Little House on the Prairie,
Wow.
MASH, Highway to Heaven, The Wonder Years, Melrose Place, and a bunch more. This guy has been on everything. The producer is Lisa Raggio.
Who's also been on a lot of things.
She has been on Married with Children, It's a Living, Murphy Brown, Coach, ER, NYPD Blue, done voice animation on some of my favorite cartoons
Voice
here.
animation.
Voice work for animation. Voice animation.
Yes.
She's animated. She's done voice work for G.I. Joe, Animaniacs, Mighty Mouse, An American Tail, The Tick. Remember the
Billy
Tick cartoon?
Moskovitz.
Yes. Well, American Tail 5 Goes West, the sequel.
Oh, okay.
We're in Earth is Carmen San Diego. But remember the Tick cartoon?
Yeah.
It was so good. I love that one. And then the two people playing the dogs. This is
Frenchie and Hot Dog.
Great. Frenchie is played by Trisha Peters. Hot Dog is played by Danny Castle. Both of them were stunt people. Both of them went on to do stunt work. Both of them appeared in separate Batman movies.
Oh, my goodness.
Trisha Peters was Michelle Pfeiffer's stunt double in Batman Returns.
Oh, wow.
Danny Castle was in one of the trapeze guys in Batman Forever.
Interesting.
So that's kind of a cool little thing. They got Batman cred.
Okay, so back in the show, we cut to...
No pictures. He's going to get a picture.
He's like, I got to get a picture. And then we hear Balky go, cousin, help. And we cut to the part of the set that's the park. And he's like on the treadmill. And the treadmill's going full speed. And he's like stuck on this treadmill. He's sprinting.
It's so funny.
And
Can't get off.
Larry runs over, grabs Balky by the waist and like hops him off the treadmill. And Balky goes, thank you. I just did 0 to 60 in 9.2 seconds.
You know how when you do the treadmill a lot and you get off and then you feel like the ground is still moving? I'm surprised he didn't fall over.
Dizzy a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and then Balky goes, cousin, the canine couch. He sees the couch. He's like, do you think Uncle Shaggy allows humans on it? And Larry's like, let's take a chance. He doesn't care. They both go over and they hop on the giant couch.
Up like really high. Larry's a little guy too, so.
And their legs are dangling and they just look so adorable on this big couch.
Yes, two little people on a big couch. You know how sometimes there's tourist attractions that's like a giant chair and you go and sit on it?
There was a Lily Tomlin sketch where she sat in a giant rocking chair.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of that too. Giant furniture has a lot of pedigree
it's so
on
funny.
the TV.
Be a little person in a big chair.
But now we're going to see how Larry's manipulation, a little bit of gaslighting, a little bit of reverse psychology, a little bit of planting ideas to get what he wants.
So Balky finds a bit of like dog hair on the couch, which is funny because it's like a show set. And he says, cousin, look, Uncle Shaggy sheds. And then Larry brushes it off. He goes, Balky, I just had a great idea for an angle on this story. And Balky goes, male pattern baldness in dogs? He's still holding this bit of fuzz.
Bald dogs.
And Larry's like, no, but you're really starting to think like a reporter. So here's part one of Larry's plan.
Yeah.
Butter up Balky. And Balky's like, oh, I don't know, all modest and stuff. And Larry says, I think a great angle on this story would be to get a picture of Uncle Shaggy without his makeup. And Balky says, cousin, that's a great idea. Okay, so he's on board.
He's into it.
And he starts to imagine the headline, The Man Behind the Nose and Ears. And then Larry's like, yes, but too bad we can't get that picture. Balky goes, why not? And Larry tells him that Uncle Shaggy is camera shy.
Okay, so here's the first lie.
Especially
big lie right
around reporters.
Yeah.
And Balky kind of believes it. He's like, well, true geniuses often are. And here comes the big scam. Larry says, if only there was someone who wasn't a reporter, someone who's a big fan of his, someone who could get a picture of Uncle Shaggy without his makeup. Ooh, what a story that would be.
And Bucky goes right up there with tearing down the Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
That's a big story. And then he's like, well, I guess we'll have to do without a picture. Too bad. And he's about to leave. And Larry's like, wait a minute. Are you saying that if you were to hang around Uncle Shaggy after the interview, distract him with some idle fan chatter, and then at the right moment, and this is the important part, Uncle Shaggy must not know what you are doing, you could snap the picture? Is that what you're saying?
Total gaslighting. And Balky's like, I must have blacked out.
He's like,
I didn't hear me say that. And Larry goes, Balky, that is a great idea.
He's just planting and forcing this idea.
And Balky's like, well, thank you very much. I do try.
He did not come up with the idea.
And I feel like this is the writers just like skipping over any explanations for the viewers and just being like, oh, no, this just happened. We're just believing
get
that
right
this.
to it.
Yeah.
So Balky's like, oh, it's a great idea. Let's do it. And now Larry goes, too bad it wouldn't work. Now he's using reverse psychology.
Yes. And his manipulation is like thorough this time.
Balky goes, you just said it was a great idea. Why wouldn't it work? He goes, you have plenty of great ideas that don't work. Why can't I have one?
And Larry says, you can't take the picture. You're not a real reporter.
Oh, my God. Oh, yes.
Now he's
this
totally
crazy
negging
psych
him.
job. Yeah, he's negging him.
And then Balky starts begging, cousin, let me take the picture. And he grabs Larry's camera, but it's like on a strap around Larry's
on his neck. Yes.
And Larry says, no. And he says, please, I want to take the picture. And Larry says, I know you do. I want to take the picture. And he puts the strap around his neck too. So they're both in the,
both of their heads.
around both of their necks together.
They're connected by the strap.
And he goes, I want to take the picture, please, please. And Larry's like, no, no. And Balky starts crying, please. And he says, well, okay.
And then he takes the strap off and he goes, but only because it means so much to you.
And Balky says, I owe you one.
Wow, that's some great Larry manipulation.
Very manipulative.
In action.
So we don't actually see what happens or how they get the picture
because the next thing
or the
we're
interview.
at the apartment the next day and we didn't see what happened.
No, but
apparently they got the picture.
We see the opening shot of the apartment. They're holding up the newspaper. It's on the front of the entertainment section, and it's Uncle Shaggy without his costume.
It says Uncle Shaggy unmasked
at the top of the.
You know what's weird about
headline.
this is that that's the there's no masthead on this newspaper.
No, it's a section. It's an internal section.
Don't you think it should still say Chicago Chronicle?
Was there not a masthead?
No, it's just like
all?
2 lines and it says entertainment, the arts, TV listings.
They didn't. They're getting lazy on the show.
Yes, they didn't have time to put anything that says Chicago Chronicle.
Yeah.
But not only that did they have the picture and the story, they got a byline, and Larry's holding it up, and
he reads it out loud.
And he goes, story by Larry Appleton, photo by Balky Bartokamos. Balky gets a photo credit.
And Larry says, sounds pretty good, huh? And Balky says, cousin, it's music in my ears.
Muzak. Well,
he needs to say it's music to my ears.
To my ears. Muzak
in my ears.
Like elevator music,
Yes.
dentist office.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Like the knockoff of popular songs.
Yes, background music. That's a funny line.
And he's even thanking him for giving him his first photo opportunity. And Larry says, well, you don't have to thank me. The cufflinks and the money clip were enough. He's bought him gifts to show his appreciation. Okay.
Larry doesn't feel
Larry's
bad about
feeling
any of this.
pretty proud of himself right now. And then there's a knock at the door and he gets up and it's Uncle Shaggy without his costume and he looks displeased. He looks
He's
not happy.
No.
And Larry says, Uncle Shaggy, what a surprise. And Balky gets so excited. He says, and he runs up to him to give him a hug. Uncle Shaggy, welcome to our home. You want to get on our sofa? You want to shoe my sneaker? And he lifts up his leg and Uncle Shaggy catches his leg. And then he drops his leg and he's not laughing or excited. He says, I'm not here for fun. How dare you print this picture?
Well, Balky goes,
he's got a newspaper in his hand that he brought.
Yeah.
And Balky's like, oh no, I didn't capture your best side. I could take another one. And Uncle Shaggy tells him, you had no business taking this one, Balky. And Larry is like, still proud of himself. And he's still thinking that he's more right. And he says, oh, come on, Shaggy. I know you're a little sensitive about the makeup thing, but you're a public person. This is great publicity for you. First of all, before we go any further, I just want to know, the character of Larry, what was he thinking would happen?
He was explicitly told.
When Uncle Shaggy told him no pictures, and then what would he think is going to happen, that Shaggy's going to change his mind and be like, oh, you were right. It's a great picture. Everyone loves
him
it.
A favor, and that would increase his popularity.
He would still be upset because he asked him specifically not to.
Nope. There could be a variety of reasons, right, Larry?
Right. But let's find out what the reason was. Back in the scene. Larry's telling him, this is great publicity for you. He's still proud of himself. Yeah. And Uncle Shaggy's like, yeah, great publicity. Because of this picture, I've been fired. And then Balky and Larry look shocked, and we fade to black. End of Act 1. Yeah. It's like a saxophone.
Yeah, well, little stinger there. End of Act 1. Listener, you can join this conversation if you join our fun Facebook group. There's a link in the episode description. It's a place where you can meet other Perfect Strangers fans, and there's many of them. You should meet them all, and also get involved. I post a thread of every episode before we record, so you can leave your comments and thoughts and memories, and we will use them in the show. It's a fun place for Perfect Strangers fans to geek out.
Okay, so we start Act 2 right where we left off. He's been fired, and we don't know why, and we find out why. Larry and Balky are incredulous that he's been fired because of this picture. And Balky says, all right, it's a little out of focus and the lighting's dim, but that's not your fault. And then Shaggy tells them that somebody recognized him without his makeup on and called the station. And why did he get fired? Because he has a prison record.
Oh, and Balky goes, don't tell me. Jailhouse Rock.
Goes, I love that record.
I love that record.
And Larry has to explain that a prison record doesn't mean a recording. It means he was in prison. And why was he in prison?
Why you were in prison?
Balky's all concerned. Apparently, 20 years ago, he was in some financial trouble, and he tried to get out of it by writing bad checks. A mistake. 20 years, he was a young man. He's pretty young in this scene, so a mistake.
1970.
And he thought his past was behind him, and it was. He was doing great as a host of this show until these two came along.
It blew up his spot.
And printed this picture of him.
And Larry says they can't fire you for something you did 20 years ago. And Shaggy says, tell that to the producer. The producer says her parents don't want their kids watching an ex-con.
I mean, fair enough, yeah.
And so tomorrow is his last day in the doghouse. Wouldn't they run a background check or some kind or hiring Uncle Shaggy?
Maybe in TV they didn't. Yeah.
But Shaggy is so mad, and he says, "Why did you do this? I told you I didn't want my picture taken."
Now he blew up Larry's spot.
And Balky's like, "What? Wait a minute." He goes, "Cousin, he told you that?" And then Larry, the only time he apologizes, just goes, "I'm sorry. This is all my fault."
It's not heartfelt. He doesn't show any remorse.
Doesn't seem
this guy just ruined this man's career, life, everything. And
he says, "I didn't know that's why you didn't want your picture taken, but that's not the point, Larry.
That's not your business, Larry. He asked you not to take his picture."
And then just making him feel guilty, Shaggy goes, "I thought I could trust you. I guess I was wrong." Making him feel bad. As well, he should. And he leaves. And then Balky is very bothered by this. But also, Balky doesn't seem upset enough at Larry in this whole episode. To be smacking him around. Yeah. Why do you do this? You could be able to kill my favorite show, cousin.
And you lied to me like you always do.
And you got me to do something that I didn't want to do.
Right. And you got me involved in ruining a man's life.
My favorite TV show host got me involved in ruining his life.
But so none of that comes out from Balky. But what he is concerned about is that they're going to fire Uncle Shaggy. And he says, we can't let them do that. And Larry, again, showing little remorse, says, I feel terrible, but there's nothing we can do about it.
We can't do anything. It's too bad.
And Balky says, yes, there is. Balky wants to go to the TV studio and talk to the producer. And if she thinks she's going to fire Uncle Shaggy, she'll have to do it over my dumb body.
Not a dead body.
Instead of dead body.
Well, you'd think Larry would have come up with this. It's his fault. But now Balky's trying to fix it. But anyways, we cut to the next day. We're back at the Pfister Theater, spelled with a PH.
Yeah.
As Balky and Larry step out onto the set, and Balky's like, cousin, there's the producer. He goes, we can go talk to her. We have to tell her, no way can she fire Uncle Shaggy.
Uncle Shaggy.
And Uncle Shaggy. And he's really worked up. And Larry's like, Balky, hold on. I know this means a lot to you. I know you're upset, but remember, you have to stay calm. And Bucky's like, okay. He goes, well, of course I will. Don't be ridiculous. He calms himself and he walks over to the producer looking calm. And then when he gets there, he just throws himself at her feet, wrapping himself around her feet. Go, please don't fire Uncle Shaggy. Please. And she is startled. And she's like, why is this person wrapped around my feet?
And Larry introduces himself, tells her he's from the Chronicle. And he introduces Balky, and Balky like puts his hand up. He, like,
she shakes Larry's hand, and then he sticks his hand up vertically
from the ground. Yeah,
so she can shake his hand.
And he tells her that they've come down to talk about Uncle Shaggy, and that they don't think you should take him off the air. And the producer says, "I'm not taking Uncle Shaggy off the air." And then Balky pops right up, and he goes, "Well, that was easy."
That was easy. He goes, "Let's try to get him a raise now."
And she says, the show stays. The Uncle Shaggy show stays. I'm just getting a different actor to play him.
Ouch. And Larry's like, look, we'd like to see Uncle Shaggy stay Uncle Shaggy. And she goes, are you crazy? He's a convicted felon. I don't want any controversy. I'm replacing him. She's not having it.
Yeah. And then there's a little funny physical comedy scene between Balky and this producer woman. Balky says, you cannot replace Uncle Shaggy. And then he goes into this little monologue, but with every bit, he like touches her a little bit. He says, Uncle Shaggy's more than just a pair of floppy ears. And when he says floppy ears, he pulls her hair out ears. To either side to imitate ears. More than a set of whiskers, and he pulls on her cheeks. More than a press-on nose, and he presses her nose. And then he goes, more than a tail, and the producer like jumps back and covers her
bottom with her hand,
with her clipboard.
What was he gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Mimic a tail, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And Larry jumps in. He
Balky's
goes,
like, stop.
Yeah. Larry stops Balky. He goes, what my friend is trying to say is that Uncle Shaggy has a special place in the hearts of his fans. And this heartless producer just says, they're kids. They'll get over it. And she walks away and the audience goes, ooh.
And then Balky says, what are we going to do? And Larry says, well, we still have the power of the press behind us. And then Balky looks behind them.
He turns around and looks behind him. It's
He's
so
like,
funny.
what?
He goes, what are you talking about? And Larry explains he's going to write an article exposing this whole thing. But they don't have time for an article. Balky
what is he going to expose? Like, they don't want someone with a criminal record, and
they're firing Uncle Shaggy because I outed him. And
he's going to expose himself. What is he going to expose?
This article is going to do nothing.
Yeah.
And also, it's going to take too much time, right?
Yes.
Which Balky says. He goes, we have to do something
today. This is his last episode.
And Larry goes, what are we going to do, Balky? Go on TV and tell the kids that Uncle Shaggy has been 86th? And Balky goes, I don't think his age is the issue.
Yes.
Which is a funny joke. And it got me thinking about this
86.
phrase.
Yeah, tell us
the kids
about
that
86.
Uncle Shaggy has been 86. You may or may not have heard people say this.
It's been a while since I've heard this. Yeah.
Predominantly, it started from restaurants used when an item from a menu is removed. They're like 86 the cheeseburger. They've run out of something. That's traditionally, or there's a drink they're not serving, 86 a drink. Eventually moves on to the mob.
And it started somewhere in the 20s or 30s.
Yes, the mob took it, and then it meant you got to get rid of a person. Like, Vito, you got 86 Vito. But the term now, it still kind of means to get rid of someone or something. And in the 70s, it became like a mob thing. But there are many theories about where this started from. I think some of these theories, like you said, it started in the 20s or 30s. One of the theories is that it was jargon used by soda jerks. This
we
guy,
have to explain soda
jerks were the guys who made like cream sodas back in the 50s.
Drinks in the pharmacy or whatever.
There was a column about Broadway, and they were talking about the codes they used. And in the article, he wrote about the code 13 meant that the boss was around. 81 was a glass of water. 86 meant they're all out of everything, right? So that's one place people think it came from. And then another author thinks it started at this bar, Chumley's, at 86 Bedford Street in the West Village. of a lower Manhattan. And he says the claims that the police would call Chumley's bar during Prohibition before making a raid and tell the bartender to 86 their customers, meaning he should tell his customers to leave out the 86th Street Bedford door while the police were raiding the other way, so that
they would tip them off.
They would tip them off, I guess.
Oh, interesting.
Because it was Prohibition, and the cops probably didn't want to do the work.
Yeah,
and they would tip off the bartenders, and they would 86 out the 86 Bedford Street door, so they wouldn't get busted. But either way, the term 86, I like right away when I heard it, I was like, where does that come from? I've heard this in restaurants mostly.
Yeah. I wonder if those codes are universal and still used today, like 86, because someone was telling us, remember, that the codes for produce in the supermarkets, when you do self-checkout, the codes for bananas have always stayed the same codes this was a friend who 20 years ago worked in a grocery store,
and the banana code
and she was like, the banana code is still the banana code, avocados are still avocados,
and it's like a national
and
code.
Now we have the self-checkout machines and lists, but she's like, we had to memorize them when I was in high school.
But they would have the list up at the register, right? And sometimes they would look at them, but if you do it enough, you'd remember exactly what bananas are.
So I wonder if restaurants still use 86.
86
Let
the
us
bananas.
know if anyone works in a restaurant. Yeah. All right. They're talking about what to do. They're on the set. It's his last show. Balky says, but we could go on TV and tell the kids that Uncle Shaggy has been fired. And Larry's like, Balky, we can't do that. And right as he said that, the two actors who play Frenchie and Hot Dog
in their Frenchie and Hot Dog
their costumes walk by them.
Yeah.
From one side to the exit.
And Balky looks at him and gets a devious look on his face. He goes, we could if we were dogs. And Larry looks over and knows exactly what's coming.
No.
He's like, no. But
no.
Balky drags him off stage. And then the next thing we see is Balky stepping out from behind the set in the hot dog costume
without the face makeup and nose, but just in the costume.
He doesn't get the makeup, and he's like, psst. And then you see Larry step out, and he's wearing the Frenchie pink costume.
Well, we never find out how they got the costumes off the other two people.
Look, the way these things work, I'm assuming they snuck up behind him, hit him over the head with the blackjack, knocked him out, tied him up, stole their costume. So somewhere
they're in a storage room.
They got a concussion and they're tied up in the freezer. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah, where are these? Or they paid them off. But why would these actors just give them their costumes?
They could have paid him off. We could have been like, Uncle Shaggy says you're off today. We're going to take your parts. And they just gave
a lot
him
of
up.
unanswered questions in this episode, but
and
we
Larry
just keep the story
has
moving.
the face of embarrassment and humiliation. Of course, he goes, I don't believe this. First, I have to interview a man in a dog suit. Now I am a man in a dog suit.
And then we just hear the stage manager go, we're back in 5, 4, 3, 2. And so Uncle Shaggy's on the couch, on the giant couch, and they're taping again. And he says, welcome back, puppies and hounds. That's how he talks to the kids. And he reads his line, his cue. I think I hear Frenchie and Hot Dog. And then it's not the regular Frenchie and Hot Dog. It's Balky and Larry in Frenchie and Hot Dog costumes. And they burst through
the doggy door. They somersaulted, and Uncle Shaggy's like, what is happening? And at first, they managed to do the little dog leap act.
They do their little routine
that
of
Frenchie and Hot Dog did, the rolling over, jumping over. And then Larry gets up to finish, and Balky rolls him down. And then they both get up, all awkward.
Very physical comedy heavy.
And the smile on Larry's face in this costume where he's just like, ta-da, with his arms out. It's so silly and funny.
And then Larry does, they do cartwheels from the center of the couch.
They got to go around to the back, right? And Balky cartwheels one way. And then you see Larry cartwheel.
But he lands flat on his back, very clownish.
This is a great
It's just the thought I had was Marklin Baker and Bronson Pinchot must have taken clowning classes in Yale acting school.
This is the thing where you do the somersault and you land flat and you just flop down.
Yeah.
It looks like it hurts too. It just lands on his body. And then they both run behind the couch and you can see them kind of poking out, getting ready on the trampolines. And they jump on the trampolines, jump over the
back of the couch.
Except instead of a smooth somersault landing into a seated position, Both of them fumble
Balky
it.
lands upside down.
And then
Larry just like
slides all the way off the couch and lands on
goes
his face.
fully over the
on
couch
ground.
to the front of the couch.
And Shaggy is so confused. He's got to make something up. And he's like, well, boys and girls, it looks like Frenchie and Hot Dog are not themselves today. Very good improv.
And he wants to get away from them and carry on with the show. So he says, I think Uncle Shaggy's going to have to run to the park. And
you notice this at this point, Balky, still upside down on the couch, has grabbed Shaggy's tail, and Shaggy's trying to free it from his hand so he could get away from them.
And he goes, alone. I'm going to the park alone. And he goes through the dog door. He runs away from them. He jumps on the treadmill.
Of course, they follow him.
And then they follow him to the park part of the set.
This is so funny.
And then so Shaggy's running on the treadmill. Balky goes to one side of the treadmill and behind him upstage, and he's like running in place.
Yeah, he's actually running in place.
And Larry goes in front of him downstage of the treadmill on the other side, and he just moves his arms. His feet are still. He just moves his arms, pumps his arms like he's running,
smiling
with
like
a goofy smile. Yeah,
it's
very cute.
It's so cute.
He's just pumping his arms like he's running, but only his arms.
And then Uncle Shaggy's like, "Didn't you hear me, Frenchie and Hot Dog? I'm going to the park alone." He hops off the treadmill, and Balky's like, "Wait, Uncle Shaggy." And he jumps on the treadmill and is instantly swept off and grabs Larry as he gets swept off, and they fly behind the set in one motion, which is so great.
So then we cut back to Shaggy. So they've gone off the set one side. Shaggy goes to the this park bench, giant park bench
oversized
in the
park
park
bench.
set. And he starts talking to the camera. He's about to set it up for a commercial break. And he does set it up for a commercial break from Water Wonder Backyard Pools. Remember, kids, Water Wonder is impervious to mildew and rot.
He hopes the kids will tell his parents.
And he sends it to commercial. Balky and Larry have returned and are standing beside him as he sends it to commercial. And they cut. They're out for commercial. And he's like, "What are you two doing here? Haven't you done enough already?" He's pissed.
Yeah.
And Larry says that they're there because they want to tell the kids at home about what's going on. And Shaggy says it's too late. You make a mistake, you pay for it for the rest of your life.
That's rough. That's a big line there.
That's him. In his own head, he's forgotten that Larry is the one who made this all happen. He's blaming
himself again. But he didn't have to write the bad checks. But still, Balky says it's not true. He goes, he wants to give the fans a chance to show how much they love you. And Shaggy's like, "Look, I got 2 minutes left. Let me finish it with some dignity." He does it. He just wants to get done with this and move on with his life. And they're back from commercial.
Yes. And Shaggy says, "Welcome back, puppies and hounds." And he wants the two of them off. So he tells the commercial, "Frenchie and Hot Dog were just leaving," and he tries to push them off the set. And Larry's like, no, wait a minute. And he runs to in front of the camera and he goes, "Boys and girls and any parents out there, I have an important announcement to make." And Uncle Shaggy grabs a giant rolled up newspaper prop and smacks Larry on the head with it. And he's like, "Down, Frenchie, bad dog."
Bad dog. And he pushes him away, leaving Balky alone to talk to the camera. And Balky tries to explain it in a way kids are going to understand at first, right?
We hear the stage manager go, "Shaggy, 30 seconds. And so the tension is building here. And Balky says, "Boys and girls, a long time ago, Uncle Shaggy was a bad dog, but now he's a good dog, and they want to give his nose and ears to somebody else, but we cannot let that happen because..." And the manager goes, 20 seconds.
So at this point, Larry is holding Shaggy back to stop, because Shaggy was going to get Balky, and Larry is holding him back. But Balky is stammering, and Larry's like, "We're running out of time." So Larry goes over, he grabs the roll from Uncle Shaggy, hits Balky over the head with the newspaper. And then he turns to the camera and goes, "Listen, kids and any parents out there, a long time ago, Uncle Shaggy went to jail."
Whoa, he says it on the air.
He just outs him because of something that he's very sorry he did, but that's behind him now, and he's changed his life. And Balky goes, "But his boss wanted to fire him anyway." And Larry says, "If you love Uncle Shaggy, and we know you do," Balky adds, Larry tells them to call the station right now, tell them you want him to stay, and they're off the air. Show's over. And then Balky's like, "We're off the air," and the stage manager goes, "Yes," and he grabs the giant rolled up newspaper and hits Larry back over the head with it. Everybody, yes.
And
gets him back.
Then they turn to look at Uncle Shaggy, who is not happy at all. He says, "Thanks, guys. Now everyone in the world knows I'm an ex-con." And he walks off sad and
Larry
upset.
gets him in trouble with an extreme thing and then jumps to another extreme thing to try to get him out of trouble. Okay, he just told everybody the guy who was an ex-felon and was in jail.
You know what a better solution would have been? To get the paper to print something that said, "Oh, we ran the wrong photograph."
A retraction.
I don't know.
It's too.
People would figure it out.
Put two and two together. Yeah. Anyways, we cut to later that night in the apartment. They're at the dining table having dinner, but Balky clearly does not have an appetite. Larry goes, "Balky, you barely touched your food. I've never seen you turn up your nose at pig snout." I like turn up your nose
at pig snout.
It's pretty good.
And Balky says, the thought of never seeing Uncle Shaggy on TV again has made me lose my appetizers.
Yeah, instead of appetite, it's appetizers. Larry's like, "Balky, we did everything we could. We put on dog suits. We sat up and begged on television. It just didn't work." And
you did everything you could, including getting him fired in the first place.
And not listening to a simple request.
Simple request.
Just then the door, there's a knock at the door. And it's Uncle Shaggy again, and he looks all serious. He enters, he walks to the middle of the apartment, and he says, "Hi, Larry. Hi, Balky." And he's quiet, and he's forlorn looking. And suddenly he stops and goes, they gave me my job back, and he's all happy.
So excited. And Balky says, "That's wonderful." Larry says, "What happened?" And Uncle Shaggy says that thanks to them, thanks to Balky and Larry, the station was flooded with hundreds of calls, telegrams. Kids showed up with picket signs.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, pause right there.
First
Did
of all,
none of these people want to know why he was in jail or what the whole situation is?
Uncle Shaggy's fans love him and they're willing to forgive him, which is something Larry proved after getting him fired.
Yeah.
But also, this calls, telegrams, and picket signs. This is what you used to do before Twitter.
Telegrams
Twitter
in 1990.
Telegram. Well, I would. Yeah, I'm surprised they put telegrams. They could have put letters or postcards. But unlike now, when you're upset at something on TV, you could just tweet about it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had to make a phone call. You had to write a letter.
Yeah.
And you didn't know if they read the letter.
Yeah.
You didn't even know if it got there. But yes, you would write letters and show picket signs.
Did you ever write a letter to a TV show?
I wrote. No, I don't think I ever did either.
Yeah.
Because I liked everything.
We liked everything.
I like nowadays. And Shaggy goes, "Look, it seems you were right. I have a lot of fans out there." And he goes, "Thanks a lot, guys." But he's being sincere, and I just said it sarcastically because he should be saying it sarcastically.
Yeah, I was not happy with this ending, but because the way they wrote it, the Uncle Shaggy's so grateful for them. He says, "Thank you so much."
And he's excited. He's excited that he's ended up at a spot that he started in when the episode started.
I really want to thank you for what you did. What you did, they got you fired in the first place.
It's not like they got him a promotion
you
or a
saved my
raise.
tail. Another dog pun.
Yes, another dog pun. But Larry again should probably apologize again, but does not feel a hint of guilt.
It's the
or
least
remorse.
we could do.
That's not the least you could do, Larry.
No, you could have not gotten him fired. You could have listened to his request in the first place.
It's just odd. This whole
it's
whole
really
thing is odd.
I was annoyed watching this. I was like, what? Why is he thanking them?
You should still be mad at them. Be like,
you should still be mad at them because he did get his job back, but also everyone now knows about his past, and that's what he was trying to avoid.
He should have showed up to be like, "I got my job back, and also this is a restraining order to stay 500 feet away from me for a year.
And also, I need the name and number of
talk to your boss, please."
Yes, of the publisher. Or he could have, I was thinking he could have just done the interview with his makeup on, but he said they covered that later. He said, "I thought I could trust you, and I didn't."
Yeah,
Larry said he trusts reporters.
You're supposed to trust. You got to build trust when you're reporting to get the story.
And so, but anyway, none of that happens.
Doesn't
He's
matter.
very grateful for them helping him out and saving his tail.
Undoing their mess. Yeah.
Undoing their own mess. And then he brings them a gift even. He says, "I thought you two might like these." And he pulls out these two dog noses on strings that go around your head to wear. And Larry's just like, "Oh, cool." And Balky's like, "My own dog nose. I love this country.
I love this country."
And roll credits. No lessons here.
No lessons lately. Listener, before we get to our thoughts, you want to buy some Dance of Joy swag merch, we have it. Visit our TeePublic shop, danceofjoy.com/shop. I remember last week I told you I got an email. Somebody bought something and you said, post a photo.
Post a photo and shout out
is.
to cousin listener Nicole Stoner.
She's the best.
Thank you for listening to last week's episode because we asked you to post a photo and she did post a photo in our group, in our Dance of Joy
Correct.
group.
Of a cell phone case.
Cell phone case. It's the first time we've seen that in a photo. So thank you so much. It's so excited.
The easiest piece of merch to take a picture of because you're holding the camera right there. You just got to find a mirror. There's your cell phone.
In the mirror.
So it was great to see Nicole Stoner.
Great to see Nicole Stoner.
Background
and
cell phone with the logo on it.
The cell phone case. I have a matching T-shirt.
Thanks.
If we ever get together, we'll be matching.
Be like Nicole. Get your own cell phone case.
Yes.
danceofjoypod.com/shop. Okay, before we get to our thoughts, this is, we talk about the producers have worked on Happy Days and other things, the whole multiverse. A lot of these plots they've done in other shows. This is one of them, maybe. It's very reminiscent of a classic Happy Days
recycled plot
episode. Happy Days in which Richie wanted to interview Buffalo Bob Smith of the Howdy Doody Show. This here is a real TV show.
Was Richie also a reporter?
He probably was at one point, or a photographer. So he takes a photo of Clarabelle the clown without makeup. This was, though, an actual person on the Howdy Doody show. Clarabelle the clown.
Yeah.
Life magazine wants to buy it, and he has to battle with his conscience when he realizes how he could destroy Clarabelle's career. In the Happy Days, it's a lot of real references. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Life magazine, Howdy Doody, real stuff. But overall,
same story, basically.
Same story,
yeah.
Overall, what did you think of this episode?
Look, the physical comedy was great. I loved the opening song and dance number.
Great song and dance number.
Seeing them in the dog suits and the
Marklin
physical
Baker
comedy
in
that last scene was really funny. Yeah. But I was just really annoyed at how they wrote the Uncle Shaggy's character arc and like how in the end he's so grateful to them. And then Larry, they did shows
no
little
consequences.
Remorse, little
he doesn't get fired.
He's not even you know how he always says this could be the chance of my lifetime. This is the most important story ever. He's not even that into the story. He wants to do a good job for Wainwright. He's looking for a unique angle. He finds it, but it's really not even sold that well that this is his make or break story. And then just zero, the impact of what he's done is not registered at all. If I did this and when I was a reporter 20 years ago, I accidentally did some things that got people mad and I felt so bad. And
you would possibly never work again, depending on how bad the mess of it. I mean, there's a code of ethics. This is clearly
if he says
unethical.
Don't take a photo.
Unethical. Here's the lesson. Again, no lesson time these last few episodes.
Ethics.
But if I was to add lesson time, it would have been Larry going, Bucky, I really should think about my ethics and listen to people's requests.
I should have listened.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
You asked me not to take a photo.
There's a code of conduct, and I just ignored it. Why do I do this?
And if you wanted to know why, you could have said,
well, why?
Why?
Is there a reason?
And he would have told you.
But it's funnier this way and also a little more perplexing.
Yes.
But yeah, it was an okay episode. I mean,
it was okay.
Some of the physical comedy was
okay.
Fun,
Let's hear what our listeners
yes.
thought. We have some comments from cousin listener John Adama. A few notes and then an overall wrap up. Cousin John writes, Marklin Baker looks to be a more natural dancer, and that's coming from someone with no expertise. Yeah, I'm sure they're trained.
Well, they were both did a lot of Broadway singing and dancing.
Larry plants the idea in Balky's mind, then uses reverse psychology. This guy is good. Yeah, he did many stages. He
used a lot of techniques.
He did gaslighting. He did negging. He did reverse psychology. He planted the idea. He leads him.
Larry pulls out all the tricks in his bag in this episode just to get Balky to do something he's not supposed to that he wants.
And then Cousin John skipping ahead and offering us some notes for PS Today, which we'll get to. But he says in PS Today, the main difference is the fans would demand his firing instead of the producer making the first move.
It's a good point. We will talk about that in a second.
Yes. And he writes, so the producer is firing a convicted felon and his last show is live?
I mean, that's taking a big risk because you don't know what this guy's going to do on his last show.
Right.
It's live. He could just go completely do whatever he wants. You can't stop him. It's already in the air.
Yeah.
And he knows he's getting fired. So that's you. If you're going to fire a person, just let him go. No more shows.
Yeah, you just swap him out. Yeah.
You don't give him a chance to make trouble for you on a live TV show. It's kind of fun.
So, and then here's Cousin John's overall wrap up. This episode did not grab me. The TV show looks the most realistic compared to other shows the guys were on, but that's where it loses all reality. The producers hired a felon while being terrified of people finding out. Gluttons for punishment, or did they just skip the background check? I like the guys working together to help someone, but the stakes feel so phony. Despite the great dance opening and acrobatics, I have to give it a C. That's kind of how we were feeling too, yeah.
Yeah, it's forced stakes that he puts himself in.
And I don't know, it just didn't, the stakes didn't feel real. Like they were just skirting, like the way it was written, they didn't make it feel, only from Uncle Shaggy did it feel real, but from Larry and Balky, they were just oh, nothing we can do about it.
Like, whoops, well.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm like, what?
Yes, Shaggy's whole career is at stake.
Destroyed this man's life and career. My goodness.
Don't be ridiculous said one time.
Of course I have. Don't be ridiculous.
And still no Dimitri.
But we could have had Dimitri just in a dog costume.
You could easily had Dimitri with some dog ears and a dog nose or something, a bowl of water there, a big oversized sofa kind of couch.
Man, I should have worked as the Dimitri intern.
You need to be the Dimitri, the stuffed sheep handler.
All right, let's get to PS Today or Perfect Strangers Today. This is when we talk about, can we remake this show today? What things would change? So Cousin John already pointed out that it kind of happens in the opposite direction these days.
Yes, back like these days, he's right. Back then, the fans didn't care what the talent did and the producers were worried about it. These days, oh, absolutely. If the viewers found this out, they would call him, they would tweet, they would get him canceled.
Well, the difference is, these days, the fans have a direct line to air their grievances publicly. Like back then, even if the fans were mad, they couldn't publish about it so easily. They would just call the show and complain or maybe write an op-ed, but that takes time. Now it's immediate. So fans can be very public.
If you did this today, you'd have to do the thing where like the host tweeted something wrong 10 years ago, or that's how
that's
stuff
a similar
gets
thing.
now.
Yeah, getting canceled for something you tweeted 20 years ago. 10 years ago.
There's always been some kind of cancel culture, I guess. I mean, we've seen the rise of it in the last few years, obviously.
Yeah, this was like 1990 cancel culture.
Yeah, but that's always been around with fans.
Yeah, also these days, not sure if you would even be able to keep your face hidden. We have paparazzi, we have citizen journalists, we have people on Instagram, Twitter, and your picture could be taken anytime and like.
But even like the dude who puppeteered Elmo, didn't he? He kind of got in trouble for some stuff. You know, you have things like the Masked Singer where they don't show their face. Like if the guy playing Barney who had some stuff in his past.
Or like Banksy. Do we know who Banksy is? Have we ever seen a picture of Banksy?
That maybe it's not even a person. It's a group of people and they created this. Banksy still somehow I think has remained anonymous, surprisingly.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah, but it's hard to be anonymous on a show.
I mean, even celebrities who try to shield their babies, like the sometimes paparazzi, you know.
Except when you dangle your baby off a railing, like some
put a hood over
it. Yes, blanket. But you could do this today. It would require a
little bit of reworking and updating. Yeah, actually, a lot of updating.
Just like a whole different thing about cancel culture, and I think the lesson would be different.
But also, we have celebrities who have been convicted and been to jail and are still celebrities, like Martha Stewart.
No, Hollywood is very forgiving people. Yeah. You give everything.
But I can see how on a children's show it would be more of a big deal because kids are looking up to him.
This is a family show, but I'm just going to mention Paul Rubens ran into some trouble.
But after he was Pee-wee.
For a while he was like blacklisted, but then comes back as Pee Wee Herman and it's fine, and everybody's forgotten about Paul Rubens.
And he did something much worse than
way worse.
Writing bad checks.
I'm not going to tell you what it is. You can look it up. But here's the thing: is everybody comes back. So would the motto of the episode be like, one bad mistake shouldn't kill your career if you paid the price, or like cancel culture is out of control. I don't know. It would be a whole different thing.
Also, why is Larry, like, nobody talked to Larry's boss? Like, Larry didn't get in trouble for this at all.
No, well, they didn't know. He told them not to print the thing.
Yeah, but Shaggy could have. How did Shaggy find out where they live? He must have gone to the paper first.
Oh my God, how did he get his address?
He could have complained. Yeah,
he could have showed up and then just like
he could have ruined their life right back. His life right back.
He's a better man than that.
He is. Yeah. 3 cheers for Uncle Shaggy.
So, P.S. today, I give it a mid score. Needs a lot of updating.
Yeah,
but
it hits at cancel culture, which is like a thing. It just plays out a little bit differently now.
No, like 36
sometimes
years
you get canceled, sometimes you don't. Yeah.
Everybody gets canceled and they come back. I can think of several examples right now. It's kind of crazy. So, yeah. And sometimes it's worse than other times, but we're living in a weird time. I blame the internet.
Right. Mid score for PS today. That's the last episode of season 5.
Oh my God, season 5 is done. Oh my Lord. Next week, listener, we were going to put together some kind of season break
special
as we have done in the past between seasons.
And it will be our 100th episode of Dance of Joy podcast.
Get out of the city.
No, it's true.
That's right. It's true. Why next week? Today marks 99 episodes, and next week will be.
So, listener, hang in there. We have about 50-ish episodes left.
Yes.
To go through next. We'll talk about it next week. 2.5 seasons, of course.
We made it to 100.
Made it to 100. There's a full season 6, season 7, season 8. I believe only has 8 episodes.
Yeah,
it's not a full season. In the meantime, if you enjoy the nostalgia and the reminiscing, there's a way you can give back and support the show. Visit our website, danceandjoypod.com. There's a little button on there. It says buy us a coffee. You can buy us a virtual coffee. It's like a virtual tip jar. All the money goes back in to keep us in Bibby Bobkas for the rest of the duration of the show. We appreciate it. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. And as always, stay in touch. We love to hear from you. We love to see pictures. We love to see the discussions happening on the episodes in the group. If you want to find out where you can listen to our podcasts on all the different platforms, please visit our website, danceofjoypod.com. You can find out where to listen, where to like, rate, and review our show. You can also leave us a voice message right there from the website. There's a little button on the page, or you can always send us an email at danceofjoypod@gmail.com. And you can find us on our social media accounts. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Send us a note, say hi, tell us what you thought of this dog episode. But Imran, what is the most important thing our listeners should do?
Well, if you always want dogs to love you, just make sure you have a hot dog in your pocket at all times, just in case. You never know. You're gonna make
walk around with meat in your pockets.
Make a 4-legged furry friend. Adopt, don't shop. That's the important.
Don't shop.
No, that's important. But also share the show, listener. That's very important.
Word of mouth goes a long way, and we appreciate it every time. And that's it for our show today. Now we are so happy.
We do the dance of joy.
Hey.